Welcome to Bouncing Back. I want to thank as many of you as had been asking me, when are you coming back? Actually, you have actually brought me back by your questions and you have pulled me back. Thank you very much. Just before we go on, please can you just press that red button and so that you can always get a notice when we are back or we have uploaded a new episode. We've been talking about bouncing back, and it's all about coming out of challenges of life. And one thing that we can never forget and we must keep always on our mind is the fact that it doesn't matter how bad they fall, but what is important is how far you are able to rise and the price you are willing to pay to wherever you are going. Last week, at the last episode, we talked about the type of adversities. And today we just want to look at what are the purposes they serve when they come our way. God told the Israelites, He said, you shall remember the Lord your God, how He took you through the wilderness to humble you. Number one thing, possibility, how or what purpose an adversity can serve is to humble you. If we do not humble ourselves, God can humble us. He can allow situations that can just make us to become absolutely dependent on Him. Look at this kind of a situation like coronavirus that happened. Just all of a sudden, the whole world was bottled in one small bottle. There was no longer a demarcation, whether you are poor or rich, old or young, man or woman, pastor or church member, king or slave. Everybody just have to stop at a point. Wow, that was a very humbling situation. But another one that came to my mind is King Nebuchadnezzar. This man was a very successful king, like some of us might know the story. And at a point, he became so arrogant in his throne and he began to claim and to boast as if there was no God. Then God humbled him and took him to the bush to go and start eating grass. He ate grass with animals for 7 solid years. But the interesting and the encouraging thing about it is that after 7 years, he humbled himself and acknowledged the Lord. And one thing that is amazing is that for 7 years, God kept his throne for him. Nobody took his place. And that is to tell me that God can restore you to your place. It doesn't matter how many years you think you have lost, God is able to take you back. Just humble yourself in the hand of the Lord and it's going to exalt you. The second purpose that adversity may also serve is to test what is in your heart. God said, and God led him alone to test him, to know what is in his heart. Sometimes God can leave us alone. It looks as if God has left us alone. You have prayed and do whatever, and it's as if God is not answering. It's just trying to see how will you react, whether you will change your mind about him or whatever. I know, or well, this is my opinion, that when God asked Abraham for Isaac, God was not interested in Isaac at all. He only wanted to know, to test, the love of Abraham and how far he can obey him. Thank God Abraham passed the test. I pray that even you yourself, you will pass the test of obedience, the test of love. The Bible says every man's work will be tested. Testing, trials is part of our Christian life. Every man's work will be tested. When you want the best of gold, you have to pass it through fire. So he said our work will be tested with fire. Until you are tested, you cannot be trusted. There is no anybody that will send an untested soldier to war front. So God tests us before he can trust us. Even so do men have to test us before they can trust us. You have to be proved before you can be approved. Sometimes this proving is not a very pleasant one. It can be like passing through fire, unpleasant situation. But when you are out of it, it's always an exciting moment. The last point today is this: every challenges of life I can say this with every degree of accuracy that the enemy's intention to attack us is to make us to denounce our faith in God, to get to our hearts, to change our mind. But we are not of them that draw back. This Nebuchadnezzar that I mentioned his name in the first example, he made a decree that everybody should be worshiping him, they should be bowed to him. But for these three Hebrews, they knew that you can only worship the Lord your God. Unto him you are to bow. They refused. And he put them in fire anyway. But they said, God is able to deliver us. But even if he does not, we are not going to bow. Wow. I want you to know everybody is not doing the wrong thing. No. Even though we live in a world where they say everybody is doing it. But your name is not everybody. And the fact that wrong will always be wrong, no matter how many people are doing it. And the truth will always be truth, no matter how many people are against it. So you can always stand. But if we fail in the day of our adversities, our strength is small. But you are not a man of little strength. You are a man of great strength. You can stand against immorality. You can stand against compromise. You can stand against everything that is wrong. And you have the ability to stand. So today, rise up in humility. Let God find faith in your heart. And God is there to lift you up. Don't forget, it's not over with you. God is bringing you back. That's 7 years that you have been away. God is able to restore it and bring you back to the 8th year where you belong in the circles of life. Bouncing back stronger, wiser, and greater. I'll see you next week.